Okay, so today I'm going to be sharing a highly underrated group of foods that don't get enough time in the spotlight, and well, according to me anyway, and why these are so beneficial. But first, welcome back to my Balancing Nutrition channel. So this is a new channel, so any love, comments, and subscriptions and all the things are hugely appreciated so that I can keep sharing what I love with you and with the world. Okay, so first I'm going to take my glasses off because I don't actually need these on because they're for the computer, so I don't know why I have them on in the first place. Right, now that I've gotten that out of the way, what is this underrated food, or foods more to the point, that I'm talking about? So I am talking about the infamous lentils, legumes, and peas. So beans, chickpeas, split peas, all the things. Now, before you roll your eyes or say that you can't have them because they make your tummy upset, hear me out. I will be addressing solutions to this later in the video, so this is still for you, even if you fall into that category. Now, these babies are quite literally many food groups in one. They contain plant-based protein, complex carbohydrates which fuel our body and do so without spiking our blood sugar levels, and fiber. So if you really want to label anything as a superfood, honestly, it should be these, or at least they should be included in your superfood list. Now, they are also absolutely great for your gut health too, acting as a prebiotic to help create the right environment in your gut so that the so-called good bacteria can stay and flourish and support a healthy functioning body and mind. Now, here is an additional list of some more of the benefits of following a largely plant-based diet, incorporating things like lentils, beans, chickpeas, etc. So you can see here that, dietary patterns that are high in plant-based proteins, so basically the Mediterranean diet, are beneficial for all age groups, as studies have found that they are inversely associated, in capitals, inflammation, age-related macular degeneration, cancer mortality, cardiovascular mortality, all-cause mortality, breast, colorectal, head and neck, respiratory, gastric, bladder, and liver cancer. That was a lot to say in one sentence, whilst also reducing the risk of things like Alzheimer's disease, dementia, type 2 diabetes, bone mineral density, or reducing the loss of, high blood pressure, and increasing self-rated health and quality of life. So you can kind of see why I call it a bit of a superfood. Now, that's not to say that you can't or shouldn't eat meat, but having a variety is key, and actually having some meat-free days is probably going to do your health a world of good. Okay, so if you are someone who thinks that you can't eat them because you experience bloating or pain when you do eat them, it's actually highly likely not because you are intolerant to the food or have IBS like someone may have told you before. If these haven't been a substantial part of your diet your entire life, then your body isn't going to be used to actually breaking down these foods. So it highly likely won't have the right bacteria in your gut needed to digest them properly. So naturally, it may be a little bit uncomfortable at first because you're going to have partially digested food moving through your gut into your intestine, and usually that encourages other bacteria to feed on them, and they produce byproducts like gas, and that can cause more distension and bloating and all of the things. But if you continue consuming them for longer periods of time, you eventually won't experience those symptoms anymore, or at least very rarely, unless you do actually have some underlying allergy or intolerance. Now, I'm not saying go suffer through the next few months just to include these foods in your diet, but there are a few things that you can do to warm your body up to having them. So start by only having very small amounts and a few days apart. And then once you've done that for a while, and you only experience either no or minimal symptoms, then slowly increase the amount. And you want to do this with only one type at a time. So for example, just chickpeas or just beans, and have them in small amounts, but regularly, to build up a tolerance in your body, essentially. Now, you also want to increase your water intake when you're doing so, particularly when you get to including larger amounts of these foods, so that it doesn't cause constipation. Now, ideally, you want to be getting to a stage where you can actually have 1 to 2 servings of lentils, beans, chickpeas, split peas, and or nuts and seeds per day. So a serving of that would look like 150 grams or 1 cup of beans, lentils, and legumes, or 30 grams of nuts and seeds. Now, luckily, we live in a world where we have access to a ton of amazing recipes online. So if you're not sure where to start with, including these in your diet, then look up some recipes on Google. It really does get to be that simple. It doesn't need to be hard. Now, my favorite way to use beans, for example, is in Mexican dishes. So things like burritos and nachos, or lentils in lasagna. And I kid you not, I make the best lentil lasagna or vegetarian lasagna that I've ever had in my life. I was never a lasagna fan until I made this one, and I also wasn't that big of a fan of lentils either, but this converted me. So if you want to know what the recipe is, then comment below and I will send you the recipe for the lentil lasagna. And you can also use lentils in things like curries and soups as well. They are surprisingly versatile and cheap and have a longer shelf life and do wonders for your health. So there really is no reason not to try and start to incorporate more of these foods into your diet. Okay, so that is all for this video. Again, I'm trying to keep them a little bit shorter and sweeter so that they are more easily digested by you all. So as always, if you do want me to talk about anything in particular, please comment below with any suggestions. And otherwise, please remember to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time in the next video.